Hello there. This is Nation Watch. I am Enemaku Ojochegbe. Today we'll be talking about something very important to everyone in Nigeria, but most particularly indigenous of Kogi State. The elections are 7 months away. And you see, as the elections draw closer, issues in the polity, they come to the front burner, and everything important will be more than relevant, more than ever before. Well, I'm not alone on today's edition of Nation Watch. I have here with me someone who has given quite a lot to this country and, of course, to Kogi State at large, as a matter of fact. I'm talking about architect Gabriel Yakubu Aduku, OON. He's the Amano Gohiwan at Taigala, the former Minister of State for Health and Chairman, Revenue Allocation Committee in Abacha's Constitutional Conference. As a 1994-1995, he's the past president of Nigerian Institute of Architects. He's the chairman, Board of Trustees, Nigerian Institute of Architects, and the founding member of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in 1998. And of course, was a governorship aspirant in Kogi State at 1998-1999. Quite an intimidating dossier, you will agree. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, John.
If I call you an elder statesman, I am not wrong at all. But then, you have given quite a lot to this country and to Kogi State. What is life outside public service like for now?
So, what is life outside public service now? When you say public service, are you talking of Nigeria? Public service?
Absolutely, service to citizens through the instruments of government as endowed on you and as expected of you.
Beautiful. Yes. Well, those of us who have been privileged to watch Nigeria's development from the self-government regional governments of Nigeria before independence, and from independence to now. We've seen a variety of attitudes in government and attempts, serious attempts to run a nation or run self-government of those days and so on. And from what has been happening since attempt to run a democracy since 1999 to now. In other words, put aside any military coups and so on, which was ideal for the nation to find itself and call it the nation of Nigeria. It has not been easy. Because the self-governance, as it were, those days, which were attempting to see themselves as a governance body, responsible to the regions where they were, because we met the north, the west, and the east. So that before the Midwest was created and all of it. There's a great difference from that beginning onto our independence and the seriousness that the independence was taking off and the interjections that came in between has rocked the country named Nigeria so much that to get a nation out of us has been a problem. And it's still up till now.
Is there any hope, therefore, given what the trend of
what
events
is gladdening is that everybody who is resident in Nigeria will find that a majority, no matter the pains they are going through, they love the word Nigeria. And they would like to have a Nigeria that is not only peaceful, but realizes its prosperity that is God-given amongst countries of the like. So we are anxious to build a nation.
Mm.
And it's been difficult for us to strategize and get there as real one of the nations of the world.
Well, that's talking about...
But we are shooting ourselves on the foot all around. There's no question. But there is hope.
That's gladdening to know.
Yes.
If we narrow it down to Kogi State, where you come from,
Yeah.
and where you have also given quite a lot of your productive service years to, I would like to know, the elections, the governorship election is 7 months away. And there's a lot of wranglings and counter-wranglings, a lot of manipulations, according to what a lot of persons see, going on at the moment. The parties, the political parties, participating political parties, 18 of them have concluded their primaries and submitted names of their candidates to the Independent National Electoral Commission. But yet, there are some who are aggrieved in the major political parties at the moment. Now, looking at what has happened, would you advise, or would you, in your opinion, would it be nice to have a third force, a formidable third force, to challenge the status quo, as it were, regarding the two major political parties, of course, as it were?
Yes. Fortunately, I'm a product of one of the foremost secondary schools of the North in the early 50s. That's the Okene Secondary School.
Oh, wow.
Which used to be called Provincial Secondary School. There, if you go through that school to have what they call West African School Sat, you are made a person, you are made a being that shows responsibility at civic level, at your academic level, at all of it. You are disciplined as a person. So that kind of upbringing that those of us from Okene had makes us feel that when the Kaba province of those days, where we belonged, transformed to become a state, it was so gladdening for us to reunite again. Because in that school that time, you won't believe it, you know. I had a master in school, which was from Jos. I never knew him before. He came in there to do his school. So also are many. It was kind of a gathering of young ones from various parts of the northern region that time into Kenya selection. And he was very much at home with the people, all the Kaba province and so on. So today, some of us have friends across, and we feel the Kaba that has Kaba province that has transformed into Kogi state is homely. And therefore, anything that is happening, you feel at home with each other. Although there are distinct ethnic groups around, but still we feel that the Kogi state is a blessing to Nigeria and is quite in the center of Nigeria with the two rivers meeting in Lokoja. With all the types of things that you can make a world of difference to economy, to life living, and all of it. We saw it all at youth. Saw it all. But what's happening now is an excess, unnecessary excess of abuse of power that is in the constitution favoring governors of each of these states. Let's take it from there. And so we have watched all the governors that have passed through Kogi state since its creation. We know that there is still much to be desired to bring Kogi state to the level that it ought to be. Well, we can talk of the nation in a similar way, but it's peculiar also to Kogi.
That's right.
Because Kogi has been exposed to things that will actually transform that province or that state as it is today into one of the uppermost states to look after. Yes, in the context of Nigeria. But somehow, it's not settling down to some of us desires. But now we are being challenged by the current effort in our attempt to continue with our democracy. I think we are one of the most challenged states amongst the states of Nigeria. I know different experiences are going on. The party administrations have been coming and going. But the worst aspect which we have observed, and particularly the last couple of regimes, where violence at elections were being instituted as a normal affair.
And a lot of lives were lost as well.
Of course, yes. If I give you my own example, the last 3 years since the advent of our late Abubakar Audu and Ibro, they call the governor. Since that last, their regime, subsequent elections have not had peace going in Kogi State.
Okay.
And so it hits me very much, and that I do not believe in violence to take at elections at any time. But if you watch what has been happening since then, know that the trend had been increasing thuggery in the system, both in election and graduating into making life uncomfortable for people, normal farmers and so on, or those who are privileged to have other things doing outside the state and perhaps love their state, and they're coming in, they get embarrassments from kidnapping errors that was thriving. And what was the root of all the kidnapping? It all was emanating from the experiences at elections. People, or the young ones who are finding it difficult to have their daily needs, or they get accustomed quickly to whatever they earn from thuggery actions in elections. And when the elections are over, they get into what they call kidnapping and getting revenue.
Because their principals have abandoned them.
Have been abandoned.
Now that elections
so
are
that is
approaching,
the challenge.
What should the young people in the States, what would you say to them as a, as a piece of advice, putting it quite succinctly, that they should do with their lives going forward, now that elections are approaching?
Yes. The civic lessons at every stage in homes must make the people to realize, particularly the youths as they are growing up, that violence does not pay any day for you to get what is not your own, or for you to be fraudulent in what you are doing. It's worse than stealing, Papa, because killing directly is involved. So I'll advise, as it has always done, that an attempt to ensure peace is the answer to our problems. If we can have peace at elections, and all attempts also to get elected should not arise in conflicts that leaves permanent enemies and so on. No. If you belong to party this, party that, and so on, and you are doing, you are all brothers and sisters. Regard yourself as so. If you win, yes, good for me. If I don't win, I'm still belong to you. Unless we go with that kind of concept, you know, it is not going to be good for us. What we are facing now is the unfortunate direct challenge of taking government by force, by all means, with resources and all the rest of it, which is not what we deserve in Kogi State. If we can manage with a relative peace, disband all those thuggery attempts to take power, and let people use their conscience to vote whoever surfaces in any party that they like, free campaign and all, honestly, our brothers and sisters will remain in great unity to serve this country as a people in the center of this country, because have that background. We know
way back.
We know ourselves way back.
All right. Now, the next government will take office on January the 16th, 2024. What will you tell them as someone who is quite experienced in governance? What will you tell the next government, or the next governor, as a matter of fact? What will you advise that one to do as a major intervention to lift people out of poverty in Kogi State?
Yes. If by the grace of God and God being kind to Nigeria, the government that is in waiting will begin to steer a course that people will realize their potentials everywhere they are. And Kogi will realize that, yes, it has a potential to develop its people with all the things that nature has favored us with. That way, hopefully, we see Kogi settling down to face its future. But before getting there, the challenge that is with us, which is being heightened unnecessarily, is taking power by force, by hook or crook, which is a kind of increase in the former trend of what it's on the rise. Take it by force, by all means. Go and acquire money as much as you can, which of course has been demonstrated centrally. So it's now a license. Get the money from anywhere you are. Money is the answer. And they rely on it. If you take the money, you must vote along the line. So that is there. And of course, if you take the money, you don't want to vote, you have your life also to watch. How can that be allowed to go on in Kogi State? No. It's on the increase from what we can see happening. And that is really, it pains us who have grown up under a very peaceful, relatively peaceful atmosphere, even through into this democracy, something at its start and all, for it to be advancing and getting to where it is. See, not to take much of your time here, the crux is, the crux of our problem really has arisen from primaries to select the governorship candidates. I say without any equivocation that it has been abused severally.
Unfortunately.
And very unfortunate. I would say by all the parties, but that of Kogi, unfortunately, also by the leadership of Kogi State, which happens to be in the party of APC. It was evidently clear that there was no primary selection.
In a credible manner?
In a credible manner. It was abused. And people went to court about it, and somehow they compromised and got back.
And I understand that some of those who are aggrieved are in the process of consultations now to form a third force. How feasible is that going to be?
Well, it is, as I said, there are many challenges, and this is quite a fresh challenge to us, that the peace we are looking for at election may not come until people themselves have grabbed the need to pay attention to faithful voteful process
Absolutely.
of election.
We're going to have to leave it there.
Yes.
Architect Gabriel Yakubu Aduku, OON, elder statesman from Kogi State, and of course a founding member of the People's Democratic Party, PDP. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
That's how it's been on Nation Watch today. I am Enemaku Ajochegbe.